Okay. Yeah. Morning down. Thank you. Erev Tov, everyone. The Gemara teaches us, excuse me, that Avram Avinu asked for zikna. He asked that when a person becomes older, he should look older. Part of it was the confusion because Avram leaders Yitzchak, Yitzchak leaders Avram. They looked exactly alike. You didn't know who you were talking to. So he asked that as a person advanced in age, zikna should take effect. And therefore it says that Avram Zakein Bo Bayomi. So Avram brought zikna. Yaakov Avinu, the Gemara says, brought sickness. In other words, a person can be old, but he can be in good health. There's no disease that's affecting him. But Yaakov asked that a person should have a sensation of sickness to know that his presence in the world is mortal and limited. Therefore, it says, Vayakov, Yagid lo avicha chole. He told Yosef that your father is sick, so that he knew to come and bring Ephraim and Menashe to get the brachos, etc. Yitzchak Avinu, who's the subject of this week's parsha, and who is a very mysterious, enigmatic personality out of all of the Ovos. The Torah does not tell us much about him. And he lived the longest life, lived 180 years. And he is the bridge between Avraham and Sarah, and then Yaakov and the 12 tribes. So we read in this week's parsha, Vayiki Zakein Yitzchak, when Yitzchak became old, so there was no chole yet. But it says, Vaticheno Einov Meros. His eyes became dim. He couldn't see. There are unfortunately diseases of the eye that occur as we grow older. And he couldn't see anymore. Which is the introduction to the story of Yaakov and Esau and the brachot, because of the fact that he could not see well. So therefore Yaakov was able to portray himself as being Esau. He had to feel him to see who was there. Yadai Mirei Esau, to call Yaakov, the entire story. So Rashi quotes the Medrash here in the Gemara. Why did his eyes fail him? If we said that that Avram brought zikna, Yaakov brought chola, how come he brought impaired eyesight? So Rashi quotes the famous Medrash that there were two causes for Yitzchak not being able to see. One was the fact that the wives of Esav were in his tent, in his home, and they offered up incense to idols, to Avodah Zarah, and the smoke from the incense came to his eyes and therefore blinded him. The second shot that Rashi says is that when he was on the Akedah, when he was strapped to the altar to be slaughtered, so he looked up to heaven, and the angels in heaven were weeping, and their tears fell into his eyes and eventually caused that he would not be able to see. So the idea here is the Maaseh Avos Siman Labonim. There have been many times in the story of the Jewish people when we could not see our way forward, both individually and collectively. You can't see anymore. So Rashi points out that there are two reasons for that. One reason is Avodah Zarah. One reason is because the smoke of Avodah Zarah is on our eyes, in our very homes, and become contaminated by it. And therefore it blinds us to what our goals should be and what type of lives we should live. And the second thing is persecution. After a period of time, there are a lot of Jews that gave up. Last night I mentioned it in the lecture that I gave in the 19th century. Just hundreds of thousands of Jews gave up. They converted. So they had enough. So now in the news is that the head of the German Jewish community said that all the Jews should leave Germany. Chidush. So they should leave Germany because the anti-Semitism is rampant. So therefore, there's no future. You don't see a way out. So that became the representative idea of why Yitzchak was sightless, because that represents what's going to be with the Jewish people. That he is sightless because of Avodah Zarah in his house, and he's sightless because of persecution from the outside, because of the Akedah. At the end of the story of Yaakov and the brachos, so there's a pasuk, Hayomar Rei b'ni Kireach Sodeh Asher Beracho Hashem. So Rashi says, who said that pasuk? If you look at the parsha itself, you would think that Yitzchak said it. Reach b'ni, the fragrance of my son, is like the fragrance of an apple orchard, blessed by God. But Rashi there says that the Medrash and the Gemara say that Kaviyachol heaven said that, not Yitzchak. So the Meshech Chochma, Meir Simcha, in his commentary here to the Parsha, says this idea Yitzchak says he can't see. What does it mean he can't see? He doesn't see a future. The future is Esav. Why does he want to give the brachas to Esav? Because he thinks that Yaakov won't be able to hang on. Esav is strong. Esav will survive. So let's try and do the most that we can with Esav. So we'll give him the brachas. Maybe it'll help. Doesn't have confidence in Yaakov. Because Yaakov is Ish Tom Yoshev Oholim. You know, he's a bottling. And, what can you expect from him? He goes off for 14 years to learn in the Kollel, and Esav is out running the world. So he was blinded to what Yaakov's potential was. He didn't see that Yaakov is the one that through him, the heritage of Abraham would be preserved. So the Shechina said, Vayomar, not that Yitzchak said it, but the Shechina said to him, Rei, Yitzchak, see. Don't be blinded by Esav. See clearly that your future is in Yaakov. Because that's Reach B'ni, the fragrance that comes from Yaakov, the fragrance of Torah. You know, this year was the Shemitah year as far as the Esrogim were concerned. So I still have, my Esrog, you can't do anything with it. So it's on a shelf in my study until it will deteriorate completely. So meanwhile, there's a tremendous fragrance in the study. It smells like Sukkos, even though it's going to be Rosh Chodesh Kislev. And a fragrance is something that is immeasurable. It's not tangible. It's a sensation. So the Shechina told Yitzchak, Rei b'ni, you will see yet, my son, because Yaakov is the future. It'll be Kareach Sodeh Sheberachel Hashem. That the future will be Klal Yisrael. And Esav, with all of his might and power, will not survive. And Yaakov will, and he will be the future. See that, so that Yitzchak's eyesight, at least spiritually, would be revived and healed. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash, Yomer Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakos, Es Yisrael Leficha Chivu Lahem, Torah Mitzvos Shenemar Enoich HaBeit V'Nam Tzidko, Yagdil Torah V'Yadir.